Oh man, this Bitcoin move will catch many off guard. Bitcoin losing a lot of momentum here on the 4-hourly chart. I'm going to break down what we can expect from this week, because many who are not following these chart patterns could get themselves caught on the end of a big pullback. I'm being very cautious here in this market right now. As I've been saying for a while, we formed a double top pattern since then, failing to create any higher highs again, curling over here in what looks like is going to be another attempt to break through the 51,000 neckline. Remember, if we break from this neckline, we could be heading as low as 49,000. This could really upset the apple cart. This could really panic the market. But more importantly, this is not an overreaction. A lot of people are saying, oh, this is nothing if it pulls to 49. But remember, it could cascade a lot of liquidations. We need to be very careful. Now, there is one caveat which makes it less worrying, which I'm going to break down as well. But if you appreciate these updates, please smash the likes. Do not forget to subscribe. Guys, if you're not in our Telegram community, you're missing some amazing tips on how to trade altcoins. We smashed it on certain altcoins here over the weekend, making crazy spot returns long only. Make sure in our Telegram community, ijazcrypto.com/TG. So we can see this pattern here. We can see it pulling back. We can look at the daily chart, and we've spoken about the fact that 49,000 is okay. It'll bring us down into our EMA ribbon. This is not too much of a worry if Bitcoin wants to pull back. In fact, it would be healthy. Now, the reason it'll be healthy is there still is some leverage in the system, right? Whenever Bitcoin goes on crazy runs like this, everybody wants to FOMO. Everybody wants to be in crypto. They think it's easy. They've seen the green candles. They think, oh, this is easy. Let me do a 10x. Let me do 100x. Let me do 1000x trades. And everybody jumps in with leverage. The problem, however, with leverage is if there's so much leverage in the system, all it takes is a 5-6% move dump to the downside here on Bitcoin, and it will create a cascading effect of everybody hitting their liquidation price and getting liquidated. There's a domino effect leading to the price falling more and more down here. So I'm prepared for a pullback here on Bitcoin, and even if it starts working down to 49,000, it could have a bigger pullback effect all the way down into the EMA ribbon, even down to 46, right? I know that sounds crazy, but we could see a pullback here from where we're at on Bitcoin all the way into the depths of its EMA ribbon, which would be a 10% pullback. But I wouldn't be shaken out by that. That would not panic me whatsoever. I would love to buy Bitcoin 10% cheaper. But there's many people watching this video or not watching this video who would panic, who would sell their crypto because it's fallen 10%. They put 100 grand in and now it's at 90,000 and they're panicking and they're sweating and they sell their Bitcoin. For me, absolutely not. I don't chase the green candles, and that allows me to buy from positions of support. If we pull back into this EMA ribbon, 49, 48, 47, I'll be nibbling. The lower we fall, the larger the chunks I'll nibble. That's how I do my DCAing. You don't see me chasing green candles. I don't need the market to give me conviction on when to buy. I buy based on my conviction in the asset class. This price sitting here at 51,000 doesn't make me like Bitcoin anymore. In fact, it's harder for me to DCA. I want to see a pullback. I want to see it come to support, and then I'll buy. Now, it'll be silly for us to not discuss what would the bullish situation be. Now, of course, you can make the argument that maybe, Bitcoin does want to fall to 49 like I shared with you. What if it doesn't? Well, if it doesn't, it needs to show some strength. It needs to show an ability to break out from this wedge and actually meaningfully start working its way here to the top side. We at the moment have not created a higher high. A higher high is to get past the wick of this candlestick here, which is at 53,000. So this price action needs to move high, get above 53, retest 53, and work its way onwards. Otherwise, the longer it spends time around here, the bigger the chance it wants to fall down toward 49,000, because naturally, that is where support lies. Now, interestingly, overall, as a week, what have we seen this week? Has it been a terrible week? Well, you can argue no, right? It's not been a crazy terrible week. If you're to look here at the candlesticks, you can see here that the percentage return last week was almost 8%. And so this week, we're kind of sitting here at down 1.12%, right? The candle's going to close in the next 5 hours. It's not horrible. I mean, you've just had two crazy candles. You had 13.5%. You had another 8%. You had over 20% in just 2 weeks. And now you want to balance off at down 1%. That is not crazy. What would be a proper pullback is what I'm talking about, which is a 10% move to the downside, $47,000 here on Bitcoin. That would be a proper pullback. You can't call this a pullback right now. Now, like I promised at the beginning, there is one thing which makes this move here on Bitcoin a little bit different. Remember, this move here on Bitcoin from January is spot ETF related. It's very important that we understand the difference. Whenever we've had previous pumps on Bitcoin, typically they've been led by retail FOMO, and retail FOMO through the form of leverage, through taking longs using leverage. That creates more money coming into the system, but of course that money easy up, easy down, because it's just leverage like I described. However, when money is flowing into crypto and the price is going up because people are buying spot Bitcoin ETF, right? They're buying the Bitcoin spot ETF. That means the ETF provider has to hold the underlying currency. This is not a futures contract. And this is why, hopefully, we might start to see a slow diminishing reduction in the amount of crazy liquidation related pullbacks. Now, do I think this is going to happen overnight? No. But as we see that more and more of the Bitcoin supply is being held by institutions, but in this Bitcoin spot ETFs, we will start to see that the crypto asset class will become less volatile. Now, of course, that comes with pros and cons. We kind of love the volatility into crypto because it allows us to make crazy gains, allows us to take crazy trades, allows us to get the outsized returns you're not getting in gold or some commodities or some bonds anywhere else. But at the same time, it's going to allow us to have sustained pumps. One of the reasons Bitcoin always gets stopped in its tracks is the liquidity. Anytime it wants to go back to the upside, a market manipulator can manipulate it and send the price to the downside. So it has its pros, it has its cons. Also, too important to understand that we need to watch the dollar index, right? The dollar index here is looking like it's having a fairly flat week this week, but it is a red week. The problem we have is it's been sideways for a very long time, right? This is sideways action here by the dollar index. What we don't want to see it do is start to show some strength and push onwards. Now, part of the reason that this could go up is if we get inflation figures, which are still too hot. When we get the PCE inflation on Thursday, we need to look out for this. This is what Jerome Powell's going to use to decide, is he going to rate cut at the next FOMC meeting, right? Which is on March the 20th. It's getting closer and closer, guys. It's not far away. Less than a month away. The market is not expecting a rate cut. Now, if inflation, however, comes down low, shows that inflation is declining, then that would be a positive, right? That would push the dollar index to the downside, which should allow Bitcoin to extend its legs from a risk on perspective, right? If risk rotating on, more people move to Bitcoin, more people move to altcoins. So there you have it, guys. There is a state of affairs on Bitcoin and what I'm seeing in the charts heading into a very important inflation reading week. If you guys want to actively trade with us, jump into my Telegram community. That is where all the fun is happening in between these videos. If you want to see how I trade, how I do TA, how I set up my altcoin trades, how I make 30% spot returns, 40% spot returns on spot trades, going long only. I don't even short the market, don't use leverage, don't use margin, just been trading for many, many years. If you want to learn some of the shortcuts I've learned over 12 to 15 years, you just got to click the link in the description. Hope to see as many of you in there as possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.